Yes, people, welcome to Man Knows Football. I'm not gonna lie to you lot, I've done a video already, edited it, uploaded it to the back end, and then this story came out and I had to put the brakes on that, delete that. This is just the nature of the game. I'm not complaining, yeah? I decided to scrap that and do an update on the previous video. Now, in that video, I was just giving my feelings on how I felt about Graham Potter, since the fan base is pretty divided, you know, with this whole Potter in, Potter out situation. I hate using that, but that's where we're at. That was a whole thing that we used to make fun of Arsenal fans for, but life comes at you fast. But this is the situation of the fan base, a lot of divide. So in this video, I'm going to give you my thoughts on where I stand on Graham Potter, as well as the breaking article that has just come out from Matt Law. If some of you were tuned into the live before this, myself and Lewis, check that out after the stream. I'll link it in here. So after the end of the video, just click on that and it will take you straight there. I did read some of that article, but I didn't read all of it. I left some of it for this video. Before I get into the content, please make sure you do these things for me. Smash that subscribe button. Help us get closer to 15K. We're almost there, less than 100 away. Big up yourselves for helping us do that. Also, smash that thumbs up button. Leave your thoughts down there in the comments as well. I always come back and read them, and I reply to as many as I can. Sometimes it gets too much. I can't always reply to everyone, but I get through as many as possible. And last but not least, if you want to support the channel a little bit more, hit that join button and join the memberships. There are different tiers, something that is available for everybody. I'm telling you, it's affordable for everybody. So if you're interested in doing that, make sure you check that out. Let's get into today's stories. Well, this one isn't really a story. This one is just, where does Guni stand on the whole Graham Potter situation? And I'm just going to tell it straight. I'm still of the opinion that Graham Potter being sacked is not the answer. I stand by what I said at the beginning of the season. I believe the root problem is with this squad. There are several individuals that are still in this squad stinking the place out, and we're never ever going to be able to move forward while they are still in the squad. I feel that the previous three managers cannot be wrong about several of these players, in particular Frank Lampard and Thomas Tuchel, because Sarri did bring one of those huge problems that we are now trying to offload, and we've got some good news about that I'm going to share with you later on. But that's my stance. I believe that Potter should be given this season, obviously outside of catastrophe, which is relegation for Chelsea, or anywhere near that, or even lingering in the bottom half of the table for too long. We're going to have to start, you know, getting the manager out and pronto, because at that point it's panic stations. But outside of that, I believe that he should be given this season. We're not going to win anything. We're not going to get top four. We're not winning any kind of trophy with the form that we're in. And I'm really going to judge the manager this season. His objectives for me is to act in January and act in summer. And then after that, I'm going to make a judgment. Then the criteria will change for next season. This is only if we address the key positions that we need to address in both January and the summer. I am expecting, especially if we don't get any European football this season, a non-negotiable top four finish and a strong finish. Anything outside of that, if you look like you're drifting too far away from top four by December, January, you need to be sacked. The standards will be a lot more cutthroat the next season, 100%. But that's my stance on Graham Potter. I don't believe he should be sacked just yet. I believe that several players should be leaving ahead of Graham Potter instead, just, you know, getting the chop, because I believe the next manager that does come in isn't really going to make much of a difference. Pep Guardiola, whoever, Thomas Tuchel, you saw towards the end of his time at Chelsea that it wasn't going too well. His record was poor. Wasn't very good, you know, his record was poor. He wasn't getting anything out of these players. You know, he squeezed as much as he could out of them. Congratulations to him, a Champions League, etc., etc. Do you know what I mean? It's a massive achievement, all things considered, with this squad. Address the squad, address January, address summer, and we'll talk. If he does not address a midfielder this summer, this January actually, that's going to be a huge strike against his name for me. And that's going to be me edging closer to him getting sacked, because there are some non-negotiables in the transfer window this January. Midfielder, ideally two, but if you can't get two, one's okay. Right back situation needs to be sorted out, 1000%. Yeah, those two are the non-negotiables for me. Everything outside of that we can work out in the summer. Let's look at what Matt Law has had to say in his new article. This article is the one that has made me redo a whole video and re-edit this thing for me. So you get me, I'm not too behind in news, and it's called not being lazy. When you want to put out your best work, sometimes these things you just gotta literally erase the drawing board and start again, and here we are. But Matt Law has said Chelsea's underperforming stars are facing a fight for their futures, with the club's owners planning to overhaul the squad and end the era of player power at Stamford Bridge. That is music to my ears. That's what I've been screaming out for from the rooftops, and I'm finally happy some kind of news like this is being reported. Listen, man, this is just great emotional stuff, honestly. But obviously, it's one thing talking, yeah, it's about the action. Get active, Chelsea, yeah? Actively get these guys out of the door. While previous owner Roman Abramovich repeatedly backed Chelsea's players over his managers, the Todd Boehly Clearlake Capital ownership are desperate for head coach Graham Potter to turn around the alarming slump and succeed. Telegraph Sport has been told that the possibility of sacking head coach Potter has not even been discussed internally ahead of Sunday's game against Crystal Palace. But it is understood Chelsea will consider a squad clear-out if results and performances do not dramatically improve. So, listen, man, that is all good news to me, and this is what I've been calling out for, and it sounds like the board and the long-term thinkers at the club also understand. The problem isn't entirely with Graham Potter. I'm not finished giving my thoughts about him, by the way. I've still got several other things to say about where I stand with Graham Potter. But the problem is not necessarily the manager, it is the squad. We need a clear out. Now it's up to them to identify those key players that we all know about, that we all talk about on a weekly basis, that make us sick to our stomach, that stink out Stamford Bridge. They need to see it, they need to get them out of the door, and they need to bring the right profiles of player in so we can move forward in a positive direction. But this here screams excellent news. Such a move would be backed by the fans who waited for Potter outside Craven Cottage after the latest defeat to Fulham and shouted, "Don't give up, keep the faith, change the squad, they're the problem." Obviously, we know, we just had him on the channel not long ago. That was Lewis with his camera.
Gaffer! Best manager in the world,
Potter! Don't give up,
still
Potter!
believe, bro!
Make room, guys.
All right, guys, watch your back. We got you, Gaffer. I trust you.
Don't give up, Potter!
You're best manager in the world, bro.
You'll win the Champions League.
Go on, Potter. We believe, bro. Keep the faith. Change the squad. They're the problem.
Yes. Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up,
Super
Potter.
Graham Potter, bro. Best manager in the world.
Shouting out support to the manager. It was brilliant to see. He definitely needed to hear that because he's been getting a lot of stick at the games, home games, away games. They're singing, "We've got Super Thomas Tuchel." Do you know what I mean? That can't really be doing much for the manager's morale and all that. He's trying, man. He's doing his best, but this squad is letting him down. I'm a strong believer of that. I'm going to come on to Graham Potter's faults as well, but I'm just going to finish this before I do that. Any overhaul could include signing João Felix permanently at the end of the season if the forward builds on his highly encouraging display before being sent off against Fulham, while there is also interest this month in Borussia Mönchengladbach striker Marcus Thuram and PSV Eindhoven winger Noni Madueke. So, just to summarise on this, I already said to you in the João Felix videos, I said to you several times, don't watch the 6 months or the potential 6 months that he could be here for. 1000% Chelsea in this time, they're going to try and work out a longer term deal, whether it's extending the loan by 1 more year with a mandatory buy option or whatever. I'm telling you, I see a long-term plan with this whole thing with João Felix. I think it's going to be longer than a 6-month stay, but obviously he's suspended for the next 3 games after the horrible foul that he committed yesterday. Next game is going to be available for his West Ham. Let's just hope he hits the ground running. At least he's going to be training and getting to know his squad members better in that time, so we should see a better João Felix on that. But going back to what I was saying about Graham Potter, he is not immune from criticism, 1000%. I do have my criticisms about him. A lot of you lot know that I've been criticising his constant chopping and changing, his tinkering with a squad that already has no confidence. Do you know what I mean? The changing of lineups. Yeah, the personnel bit I understand because we're getting injuries and we're having to play players outside of their positions. The story of Chelsea's past 2 seasons, man. I'm tired of hearing it. But this is the situation that we're in. Also, my problem is as well, and again, I'm acknowledging the injuries, but in terms of some of the personnel that you're starting with, some of your substitutions, you've got to do better. 1000% you've got to do better. Me personally, I'm not watching the body language on the touchline too much because I believe different people have their ways of doing things. Some managers that are animated and shout and do this and that and the other, they don't always get the results. Some that are cool, calm, collected, they do get the results. So while Potter's here, however he chooses to manage the squad, as long as there's some kind of improvement, I'm for it. And talking about improvement, since he's come in, we've seen small glimpses of good football being played by this club. Some in the Champions League, not really that much in the Premier League. But what I will say is that he's definitely got to give us something to trust. He 1000% has to give us something to trust. The results need to turn around and soon. I understand he's not had much elite experience previous to Chelsea. This is his first elite position, but there's no room for adapting, as you can see. And especially at this point, we've got to start getting it right now, which brings me on to the next topic that I've just been talking about, incomings and outgoings. In terms of incomings, January is a month where we can do business. We're 13 days in, I believe. What's the date today? The 13th of January as we speak. Friday the 13th, actually. I'm not superstitious like that. You get me? But however you take it. Right, 13 days in, yes, we've signed several players, several youth players, we've brought in a senior unknown, but where is the midfielder? Where is the right back? We desperately need those players. You need to bring those in. If you do not bring at least one midfielder in and one right back in before the end of January, that's going to be a huge strike against you and the recruitment for me in terms of trust, because those are positions that need to be sorted out desperately now, sharpish. Outgoings as well. I know it's going to be difficult considering our hands are tied with all the injuries, and at the end of the day, we can't get rid of everybody. We do need some players to play on the pitch. I understand if you can't do much now, but at least get the legwork in so we've got guarantees of some of these players out of the door. Kovacic doesn't want to be here. He's been stinking out of the place. Sort something out for him for the summer. Get him out. Jorginho, you already know. Sounds like you're not giving him a new contract. That's great. Out the door. Loftus-Cheek, not good enough. Out the door. Conor Gallagher, if Crystal Palace offer a good offer for this player, I feel that he deserves to go to a club that's stable, that can give him the development stability that he needs so he can recognise his ability. Let him go there, sell him. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's several other players. Do you know what I mean? Loads of other players. Get them out of the door. Let's continue with this rebuild because we can get this right. We definitely can get this right. I do have belief in what's trying to be done here. The article that we just read, very, very encouraging signs in terms of some of the outgoings that were mentioned there. But I did speak a little bit more with Lewis in depth about the outgoings and incomings on that article. So if you want to know a little bit more on that, make sure you go back and you check out that live. I will link it in this video. At the beginning, you should have seen a little notification at the top of the video. But since you stayed this long, you will see another one at the end of the video. Just click on that. That will be the live. But people, that's my stance on the Graham Potter situation. To those that weren't really too sure, sacking him for me is not the answer. But I've given several reasons throughout this video as to why else and why he's also not immune from criticism and what he could be doing differently. But people, bless up, man. Thank you so much for all of your support, and please continue to do so by smashing that subscribe button. We're almost at 15k. We can do it, people. We're almost there. Yeah, then we're going to start the road to 20k, another milestone for this channel to hit. Smash that like button, get us up in the algorithm. Leave your thoughts down there in the comments. As always, I'll be going through them and I'll be leaving my response. And if you want to support the channel, hit that join button so you can be a member of the channel. There are different tiers, something that's affordable for everyone. Don't be shy, go and check that out. Every little helps and all of that stuff. But people, make sure you stay safe. And as always, up the Chelsea. Bless.